Hello, my name is Caitlin, and I work in the activities department at the hall in Wellington. I am the co-director, the producer, and the editor of Coping with COVID in Song and Jest. Now, before we get started rolling the film, I wanted to really quickly touch on where we came from and how we got to this place to produce this and create this virtual show at Wellington. So we got to go back a little bit. Last September of 2019, we started a theater club and intended to put on a full production, fully staged, light, lit, mics, everything at Wellington this past May. That show was made to showcase the various talented residents at Wellington, from acting to singing to comedy. It was going to be a variety show of what we had to offer at the time. Obviously, those plans had to be changed due to the current pandemic and the restrictions set in place to ensure the safety and health of our residents and our society. But with time, patience, and dedication to social distancing measures, cleaning, and effective screening tools, Wellington was able to open back up a little bit over this past summer and fall, and we could bring the theater club back to its feet. So we brainstormed a couple ideas, and one of our residents who contributed a lot to the staged show we were going to do, her name is Rose Ryback. She brought a lot to the table and came up with a concept to parody life at Wellington living during this coronavirus pandemic. The idea took off within the theater club, and using some modern technology, a lot of hope, our theater club worked together to create, conceptualize, and inspire the show that you are about to see for the first time ever. I didn't have to do a lot of convincing when I offered to virtualize a show. These folks were ready to go the minute that I said that making a show was possible. All of the material you are about to see is 100% original. Apart from some of the old standard instrumentals that you might recognize from the songs that we're going to parody, I invite you to sit back, relax on your couch, in your bedroom, like I'm doing here, and my cat, and enjoy this one-of-a-kind variety show. We hope it helps you reflect and look back on this unprecedented time with smiles and laughter. Enjoy!
Hello everyone. We here at Senior Living had our lives disrupted by the COVID virus, like everybody else. Most directly, our theater club was forced to cancel our planned stage performance of the Wellington Follies. So to compensate, we created this virtual show which everyone can relate to. It's called Coping with COVID in Song and Jest, and we hope you enjoy it.
Our first performer is a patron of the arts here in Wellington. Take a listen as Adam puts a new slant on an old standard.
Oh, this is so depressing. So depressing. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. It's just me and my shadow, all alone and feeling blue. Oh dear, just me and my shadow. COVID came, there isn't much to do. And when you go outside, when you return, you must be screened. It's back to quarantine, just me and my shadow. Only course is wait and see. Me and my shadow. Only course is wait and see. Yeah, that's good.
For every generation, word meanings often change. Sometimes the change is logical, but often it is strange. Take a word like distance. It measures space from A to B. Then take a word like social, meaning party or high tea. Since the two have been combined, social distance came to be, a polite way of saying, stay far away from me.
Living with COVID can be difficult at times. There are uplifting moments as well, particularly if you happen to be in the vicinity of Cynthia's apartment when she is at the piano. Here is an example of Cynthia's magic at the keyboards. At this time, we'd like to thank the Wellington Chorus for sharing 2 of their members to perform our next song. Meet Carol Janik and Dot Jomersbach.
Have been trying, at times mystifying, for whoever dreamed this quarantine would last so long. The dining room's now open, it's what we were hoping, that we'll be back to the days of way back when. So neighbor, we know that it's been some paper. Soon we can have our glass of wine. Soon everything will be divine. Soon we can sit with neighbors once again.
At times like these, when you could use a good laugh, we're lucky to have someone who can make that happen. Here is the outstanding stand-up comic, Frank.
Today, in this age of COVID-19, we imagine what life will be like when the future, when COVID is gone. Will we wear masks, social distance, just to keep pandemics like COVID from happening again? Who knows? I've thought of a few stories that make you think or use your imagination, so listen closely. You don't want to miss a word. Only the names have been changed to protect the guilty. All seriousness aside, folks, here we go. As you know, COVID-19 is no respecter of persons. So when I was little, we had a cat that was no respecter of persons either. Every time I played in the sandbox, the cat would cover me up. Also, in my childhood, we had a dog named Stay. He was a wonderful dog, fully housebroken and trained to obey commands. When we would call him, we'd say, "Come, Stay, come, Stay." The dog went insane, so we wondered why. Long before COVID even was thought about, in my college days in the South, we had frat parties where girls from different colleges would come just to liven things up. So I noticed this pretty young girl, so I went over and said to her, "What college are you from?" In her sweetest southern accent, she said, "Yale." And I said, "Okay, what college are you from?" I didn't wake everybody, I hope. Despite the COVID crisis, my Uncle Elmer needed a bull to service his cows. So he bought a bull, but complained to his friend Rufus that the bull didn't need anything but grass. So Rufus said, "Why don't you take him to a vet and maybe he'll give you some pills to see." Elmer was all smiles the next week. And he said the vet did give him some pills, and since then the bull was like a machine. He said he serviced all my cows and then broke the fence and serviced all my neighbor's cows too. Rufus said, "Gee, I wonder what was in those pills." And Elmer said, "I don't know, but they tasted like peppermint." You know, it's no secret that my great Aunt Helen had a gas problem. She said when she passed gas, it didn't smell or no sounds heard. She thought it might be a symptom of COVID, so her husband said, "Why don't you go to the doctor and have it checked out?" So she went to the doc and he gave her some pills and told her to come back the next week to see how things were going. When she went back the next week, she said, "Doc, the problem is worse now. They smell terrible. It's embarrassing." He said, "Well, that's good. And now that we've fixed your sinuses, next week we'll work on your hearing." COVID makes you do a lot of strange things. Charlie, another friend of mine, was sitting on the examining table in the doctor's office the other day and having his hearing checked. As the doctor poked around, he suddenly said, "You know, you have a suppository in your ear." And Charlie said, no, but now I think I know where I put my hearing aid. It seems like all my friends are visiting doctors, but I guess at our age that's not unusual. So the doctor said to my friend that he was in great shape and asked him how he does it. Arthur said, well, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and the good Lord takes care of me. For weeks now, every time I go to the bathroom at night, the Lord turns the light on for me. So concerned, his wife was in the waiting room, the doctor told her what he had said. And she said, don't worry, doctor, that explains who's been beating you in the fridge. Some old buddies decided to play a joke on Alex, another old friend. They hired a lady of the evening to come to his birthday party and humor him. So when the time came, she walked up to Alex, threw open her coat to reveal everything, and said, I'm here to give you super sex. Alex thought for a few seconds and said, I'll take the soup. COVID strikes again. Tim, our minister, was pulled over for speeding. The trooper immediately smelled alcohol on Tim's breath and noticed an empty wine bottle on the passenger seat. The officer said, have you been drinking? And Tim said, no, just water. The officer says, well, why do I smell wine? And Tim looks at the bottle and says, good, the Lord has done it again. Several patients were sitting in a nursing home recovering from COVID. Harold, a volunteer from our church, takes his portable keyboard to the home to entertain the patients. He tells some jokes and sings some funny songs for the patients at their bedside. One day when he was finished, he said, well, I hope you all get better soon. And some elderly gentleman said, I hope you get better too. And COVID reminds me of doctor stories, so here's another one. John went to the doctor for a checkup. A few days later, the doctor saw John walking down the street with a gorgeous young blonde. The doctor says, oh, you're doing well, aren't you? And John says, look, I'm doing just what you told me, Doc. He said, get a hot mama and be cheerful. And the doc says, no, I didn't say that. I said you've got a heart murmur and be careful. And at a social hour in Wellington, Eric was drinking his favorite cocktail. When he finished his cocktail, he pulled out his wallet and looked at a picture of his wife. Then he'd have another cocktail. He'd pull out his wallet and look at a picture of his wife. After several drinks, he did this several times. Somebody asked, why when you finish your drink, you always pull out your wallet and look at your wife? He says, well, as soon as she starts looking better, I go home. So now I'll close with these two adages that you can take to the bank. One, because of the COVID pandemic, it may take a village to raise a child, but it may take a vineyard to homeschool one. Two, the best contraceptive for older people is nudity. Imagination rules, and as Porky Pig would say, that's all, folks.
Our next selection is not meant as an admonishment, but rather as a change of pace. Joan will show you what we mean.
Wear a mask, you must wear a mask. With this COVID bug you just can't relax. Even though we all know that this isn't fun, it's simply what has to be done. Don't think wearing a mask is something new. It's what the Lone Ranger used to do. It's one way for you now to achieve your task. So be safe, you have to wear a mask.
Since COVID is an international situation, it may be interesting to hear from someone from Italy who recently came to the United States. Here's Dick in the persona of Enrico Caruso.
Hello, my name is Enrico Caruso, and I was born in the little Italian village of Postina on the shores of Lake Melatonin. It was a sleepy little town. Our formal name was Caruso, and so my mama named me Enrico Caruso in the hopes that I would become a famous opera singer and bring a lot of money to my mama. But alas, it was not to be. My voice teacher, Guido Tango, he said to mama, he's no going to be able to sing. Can't even carry a tune. So my mama was very mad. She actually legally changed my name to Don't Sing Around the House Caruso. Oh, I had to live with that, but all the people in the town called me Don't because they thought it was my first name. We had a problem on the playground. The boys would say, don't throw me the ball, so I didn't. And we lost a lot of games. But then I grew up a little bit and I got a job. I got a job with the Postina Sanitation Company. My job was to walk in front of the garbage truck and yell, bring out your garbage, bring out your garbage. The pay wasn't very much, but the food was good. And then I married my high school sweetheart. I almost forgot her name. Her name was Rosa Ronzoni, that was it. Her family had a lot of dough. So we were ready to get married, and you know, in the wedding ceremony, when you have to confirm your vows, I almost said I don't, but I caught myself and didn't. Rosa and I got married, and then the virus came to Italy, and it hit hard, very hard in Italy. And so Rosa and I decided to move to America. America, they say COVID-19. In Italy, we say COVID-19. It doesn't sound quite as dangerous. But we flew to America on Italia Airlines. I know it was Italia Airlines because the plane had hair under its wings. We went to a place called Wellington, and it was nice, very nice. We looked at apartments, and then the tour guide took us down to the lower level, and there was a nice bar that is operated by the residents. And there were residents sitting around, playing trivia, gossiping about residents who weren't there, and drinking wine. I turned to Maria and said, Mama Mia, we are home. So we got an apartment, and then the restrictions started. First, they closed the dining room, and all the residents had to get on the phone and order their food, and the servers were to bring it up, drop it at the door, knock, and run like hell. It was like Halloween every night. 3 months with nothing to do but eat and walk around. Security was called many times for cases of domestic disturbance, fighting with spray bottles of disinfectant, and one woman sitting on her ledge screaming, I'm gonna jump. She was on the first floor. They closed the library. They put 2 tables out in the hallway with books that were moldy and waterlogged, and everybody had read a long time ago. So people were wandering around their apartment looking for things to read. So they read the operating manuals for the microwave, the oven, the refrigerator, and some of them actually read the fire alarm instructions on the door. Then there was the Wellington Choir. Now the Wellington Choir is a mixed choir. One half of them could sing and one half could not. I was in the half that could not sing. And then they opened up at the dining room a little bit. you could go down there and sit down and order your meal, but they can only serve 25% of your meal. And they had tables of 4. And Rosa and I are sitting at one end of the table, and then the hostess could sit any 2 other residents at our table. And that, Elise, gave us a chance to make a list of people we never wanted to sit with again. And that's my story. Good night.
Now might be a good time for another treat from Cynthia.
There's no question that COVID is having an effect on relationships. Ralph and Francine portray a case in point.
We're a couple of swells. stayed at the best hotels. Each night we go around the town and hide from the raising hell. Never had a care. We go most anywhere. Among our friends and neighbors, we were always everywhere. COVID hit us hard and suddenly. Our way of life was ruined thoroughly. We were too happy feelings, now we find ourselves homebound. It is hard getting used to having no one else around. So we're stuck with each other, that's the nature of this curse. Yes, we're stuck with each other, yes, we're stuck with each other, yet we've signed on for better or for worse.
At this time, we welcome back Adam, who's been waiting in the wings.
I haven't been anywhere, I haven't seen anyone, but I do have a hobby. I've done some painting, and I would like to show you these paintings. This is a ship arriving too late to save a drowning witch. This is a midget playing a trombone in a telephone booth. This is a bear climbing the tree as seen from the other side. And this is ants crawling through spilt champagne. If you want, I will sign these. And they will be available for $20. Framed. Bye-bye.
Living with COVID hasn't been easy and has created a new normal. And this next piece, sung by the talented Jackie and Joan, showcases life as we now know it, but how we hope it might go back to be.
Like a secluded rendezvous, where there's not much that you can do.
we vented about life during the new normal, we'd like to end our program on a positive note. Welcome our cast to the stage for Put on a Happy Face, and remember, underneath every mask is a smile.
Thank you all so much for watching and taking the time to share some joy with us. On a personal note, I just wanted to say that these residents and this theater club has helped me through this year tremendously. And I'm so grateful to have been able to learn from them and share in the joy that we found in putting this show together. I will never forget this experience. I hope you can feel that at home. And know that these are incredibly tough times, but we can all maneuver through it together and for each other. Now, I want to give the biggest thank you to a few people who made this show possible. First of all, Larissa, my supervisor, and the activities department head at Wellington for the Hall. She has been nothing but supportive and helpful in finding the time and the space to help us get rehearsals together and put our theater club back on its feet, and to help plan and distribute the show so that you can all watch it. She has done so much to make all of this happen. Thank you. I also wanted to especially thank those residents who took the time to work with the individual pieces of the show. Thank you to Cynthia Pound for all of your support and help with your choral instruction during our finale rehearsals. And thank you to Mr. Reggie Lee for showcasing your skills on the drums and dedicating your time to helping us put that number together. Thank you for keeping us in time. I also wanted to give one big thank you and a shout out to Connie Shalengian, who was and is the choral director for the choir at Wellington in the Hall. She transcribed all of the music onto sheet music for all of us to read the lyrics from that Rose had written, and she provided all of the instrumental tracks that you hear throughout the show. She was also a big help in just helping me stay on the right track with getting all the music together, so I want to give her a big shout out. Thank you, Connie. Let's give them an at-home round of applause. Thank you, guys. Okay. So then I just want to especially give credit to the writer of a lot of the parodied song, to all of the parodied song lyrics that you just listened to, the recitation, as well as for all of the introductions. She was our co-director, conceptual director, and the one who really drove this show forward and worked to make it possible. Give an at-home applause to Miss Rose Ryback. Woo! of course, I have to give a huge at-home applause for all of our contributors to the show. This is in order. Joan Perplasky, Dick Pound, Adam Rogers, Gwen Haynes, Cynthia Pound, Dot Jomersbach, Carol Janik, Frank Lammy, Joan Griffith, Jackie Baker, Ralph and Francine D'Angelo, and those who also dedicated their time to helping make the show. That's it. As Porky the Pig says, that's all, folks. Thank you, stay safe, and keep smiling under that mask.